Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. If you're from the UK, you'll no doubt be aware that there was a fantastic fight between Anthony Kakache and Lee Wood over in Nottingham. But what you probably don't know, or you may not know, is that there was another barn burner going on in San Diego in America in the early hours of Sunday morning, UK time, between Emmanuel Navarrete and Charly Suarez. And I thoroughly recommend that you go and have a look at this fight because it was a lot of fun. It had a debatably controversial ending, but we'll go into that in a little bit. It was won on a technical decision by Emmanuel Navarrete, who retained his WBO super-featherweight title. This was in 8 rounds. Now, before I go any further, there is this ridiculous rule where if you are 1 second into a round, you score that round. This is where technical decisions are concerned. And the 8th round lasted precisely 1 second, but the judges had to score it. How can you score it anything other than a draw? They didn't throw any punches. They barely took a step out of their corners. So I don't get that stupid rule, but it was won a unanimous decision by Navarrete. 2 of the cards were 77-76, which I wouldn't argue with at all. Well, I had it slightly wider, but I can live with that. 78-75 was the 3rd card, but I definitely thought Navarrete was winning on points up to that point. And I didn't know much about Charly Suarez going into this fight. He was undefeated in 18. He had 10 KOs. He's 36 years of age, and he fights like a 28-year-old. What is it with 36-year-olds? Both Lee Wood and Anthony Kakache are 36, and now this guy, Charly Suarez, from the Philippines, he's 36 too. He's also in the army, and they were saying that if he'd won, he was going to get a promotion in the army or something. Filipino army. Anyway, he came in. I didn't know much about him at all. It's what I normally did. Well, what I normally do is whenever I hear of someone I don't know about, I go and have a look on YouTube, have a quick nosy, suss him out. Yeah, the guy looks like he can really fight. But he looked like he was at least 1 weight division smaller than Navarrete. And Navarrete, he has been up at lightweight, but I think it's a discipline thing with him. He had to lose a ton of weight before this fight. And even though he was taller and broader and just an overall bigger human being than Charly Suarez, he still had a little bit of softness around the middle, which indicates a sort of quick weight cut. But he trains at extremely high altitude, which means that, his stamina, you can't doubt his stamina. And sure enough, he was throwing punches from the word go, like he always does. He's a crazy fighter, Navarrete. Storms forward, throwing all sorts of punches from all sorts of angles, none of them in the textbook. He's a completely unconventional fighter. And to start with, it looked like he might overwhelm Suarez. He bloodied his nose in the 1st round. He was putting it on him. And I think there was a big backhand that sort of shook Suarez's legs. They sort of momentarily unhinged and he straightened himself up. He was never on the floor, Suarez. And I think the commentator said he's only ever suffered 1 sort of flash knockdown in his whole career. And I can see why, because he's got a bloody good chin. But Navarrete was just, as he does with so many fighters, kind of outworking him. And it was noticeable that at 30 years of age, Navarrete, he's not going anywhere. He's not on the slide at all. I mean, I suppose you could argue that 30 is normally a sort of peak age when you're in your prime. But this was Navarrete's 43rd fight. He's got 32 KOs in 40 wins. And last time he was seen beating up Oscar Valdez, stopped him in 6 rounds, which was a really great win. Before that, he lost to Denis Barancek up at lightweight on a split decision, which kind of indicates that, he's not a lightweight. Even though he looks enormous for the super featherweight division, he's not really. He's more. It's more a case of if he disciplined himself and he didn't eat crap and he trained properly, he'd be all right. He'd be able to make the weight sensibly, shall we say. But some fighters are very, unorthodox in every way, training methods, style, you name it. and so it is with Navarrete. Well, let's get one thing straight. Charly Suarez, like I said a moment ago, he does have an excellent chin. And although he was being outworked and then some by Navarrete, he was landing his own punches because Navarrete is so come forward, so cavalier, so open, that Suarez, you felt, if he could survive the opening couple of rounds, 2 or 3 rounds, he'd get into this fight. And sure enough, he did. He did. He was winning rounds on, I suppose you'd say, technique, threading punches through, punching with Navarrete. It was exciting stuff. Most of Navarrete's fights are exciting. Suarez was quite happy to go with him. Nothing lacking with this guy. He might have been 6 years older than Navarrete. He didn't fight like it. Both of these guys were orthodox fighters, and it was a fight that you would. By the time it ended, I mean, certainly by the middle rounds, it was in full flow. They were just getting stuck into each other. And they were certainly Navarrete always goes looking for a knockout, but Suarez, you could tell he was trying to punch between Navarrete's punches, land some hefty wallops. Wasn't points picking. He was looking to hurt Navarrete. Why not? I mean, the opportunity's there. The guy's coming in the front door. He's swinging. There's all sorts of gaps in his defense. Why not try and hurt him? Why go for the points? Suarez was doing that, and then in the 6th round, right at the start of the 6th round, there was what the referee said was a clash of heads. And then there was an enormous, it wasn't a cut, it was a slice right across the eye of Navarrete, the left eye. And the blood was just pouring down his face, going in his eye. And then they showed the replay, and it looked like a punch. Now, I don't know, from different angles, and if you throw in a combination as your head goes in, sometimes you can mistake, you might think that the punch opened the eye, or maybe the heads clashed and that opened the eye. But it did look like a punch, I have to say, from what was shown. This was a top-rank promotion. And they showed what looked like a punch. And the referee had a look, or the doctor had a look at the referee. They wiped it down. It was a really nasty, bad cut. And then the fight continued. Suarez was obviously G'd up by the fact that this had happened to Navarrete. Navarrete was having a bit of difficulty seeing. He weren't rolling over though. He was still going forward, still being front-footed, still throwing punches from all weird angles. But Suarez had been pepped up by this idea. Okay, you're bleeding now. I've got you. And he was going with him. I mean, the smaller man, and he did look visibly the smaller man. He was able to hang tough, and he was able to do some good work in there, which is why they gave him rounds. Again, I thought 77, 76 was a bit too close. I can't think what I had it offhand because I sort of stopped scoring it, but I probably had Navarrete at least 2 points ahead, not one. But there's no doubt that Suarez was certainly in this fight. And then at the start of the 8th, the doctor came in, stopped the fight. Referee consulted with the doctor. They looked at it. No, it's too much. Stop it. And it went to the cards. But had this continued, bearing in mind there were 5 full rounds left, it would have been very, very interesting to see if Navarrete, having had to lose a lot of weight, could have done the full 12 at full pelt. Because yes, he's got a great engine because of all that high altitude training, but there's no substitute for living the life, not having half of a camp be a fat camp. And Suarez was in shape as well. It would have been. I think this has got rematch written all over it. Suarez, to me, deserves a rematch. Because, okay, Navarrete doesn't make... He's not the referee. He's not deciding these things. But the referee's saying that it was a headbutt, not a punch. Yeah, it is arguable. It is arguable. And it's a shame that it ended so quickly after only 7 rounds, or 7 rounds and 1 second, because this was a really good, entertaining fight. But I don't know. It's on Top Rank's YouTube channel, so go and have a look at it if you haven't seen it. You won't be disappointed. You'll be entertained big time. And when you've done that, tell me what you think. Give me your opinions. Yeah, all right, well, I await your comments and I will have a read of them and answer as many as I can. Thanks for listening to this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel if you're new. And the sun is out. It's Sunday. Go and enjoy it. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.